All right, we are live for Success Sundays. How exciting. I'm one of your hosts, Oscar Chavez.
And I'm Jacob Galea.
And today we're going to talk about future-proof leadership. Future-proof leadership. You could be a leader till the day you die, right? You could lead people till your last day. So today we're going to talk about how to actually be a future-proof leader. Jacob, any thoughts on the experience that you have? You work with so many high impact leaders and you see people burn out as well. So what do we need to do in order to become a future ready leader?
Yeah, look, for me, Oscar, great topic and great subject for us on a Sunday night, especially during COVID pandemic and what's going on. Talk about leadership now through Zoom, and how do you do it? How do you lead a team that you used to have in person, and now they're on Zoom and now they're at home? And how do you do that? It takes a certain special leader. It takes a certain special person to be able to lead from a distance now, because you can't come out of your office and your fishbowl and see your staff and get them to do what you want them to do. They are not around you. So for me, look, first and foremost, you got to get to know your people more than ever. Being my master's in emotional intelligence, you've got to know your soft skills and get to know those people 100% around the clock. You got to know what their hot buttons are, what their appetite is. You've got to know what moves them, because leadership now, we've never existed in a world like this before. And to future proof your leadership, you have to learn to exist in a way that we've never existed, and that is through the game of people. Your staff now, especially that are so far away and aren't in the office, is so important to connect with. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, this is the most important thing. A lot of leaders are forgetting that it's like out of sight, out of mind. No, now it's changed. That old out of sight, out of mind quote has completely shifted. The triangle's gone upside down to out of sight, more connected now. Yeah. So if you want to future-proof yourself as a leader in today's world moving forward, you got to get to know your people. You got to know them more than ever before. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard to survive. But what about you, Oscar? What's your experience there?
Yeah, I agree with, and I love that you've reflected on EQ. I think it's one of the most important skills that leaders need for the future. I had a conversation with one of my executive clients, and they were saying, in their MBA, in their leadership school, they were taught that as soon as somebody asks you something, you say no. That's the default response. And that's the old school way of carrot and stick type leadership, where it's like you push people in a negative way. You don't really understand their emotional needs and you don't really care about them emotionally. It's more command and control. It's do what I say or else. And that's not inspiring. People need to be inspired to come to work every day. People need to be inspired to work with you. People need to really believe in the vision and the mission. So the thing that I see consistently across really high impact CEOs and business owners is that they can really define their vision really well. They know it off by heart. They know exactly what they're doing. They know why. They know how they're going to be doing it. They know how they're going to chase and get it done. Whereas the old school leaders, it's mainly on the short-term metrics, right? They're looking at the KPIs. And I think that all fits in with emotional intelligence, because if we know our teams, if we know who they are, if we know what gets them out of bed in the morning, if we know what drives them, it's going to be so much easier to lead them to greatness. And I think that a leader should be leading people to greatness, not to mediocrity.
Yeah, look, absolutely. And I think, you raised so many good points there. You got to have a look at, they say that history has a way of repeating itself. Yeah. And you have to have a look. We have to get back to old business principles now. We have to get back to, think about the days with no internet when we were, faxing things across to clients and getting more people orientated and hand delivering quotes. Yeah. Rather than just flicking off an easy email, flicking off a text, because you can. I mean, now's the time to get back to basics. You want to future-proof yourself. To go forward, you should go backwards. And what I mean by that is just go back to basics. Learn the most important basic leadership skills. Read Jim Collins' book, The Good to Great, and the Hedgehog concept, and learn just basic leadership principles now. You don't need to be advanced in a world now that's showing you signs that you need to go back to the future. And that's the truth of it, because a lot of guys, you can't be innovative today 100% in this world. You can't be cutting edge today, because today is not about making money in pandemic. Today's about keeping the business alive and afloat. I was talking to a CEO buddy of mine yesterday in Melbourne, and he's got to close his business for 6 weeks, and everyone's got to work remote. So you can't have a profitability mindset. You've got to have keep this ship together mindset. Yeah. So for me, it's very back to basic principles. it's understanding your people, emotional intelligence, and keeping your business alive, and making sure that you pay your bills and you don't go in debt, and you've got a vision. For me, is what it's all about. What about you, Oscar?
Yeah, I really agree with that notion. And I think it's important to really stay focused on what's, especially in these COVID times. There's people that struggle with the whole remote working. There's people like you and I, right? We love to see each other and we love to be in person, but in the current climate of COVID, it's not that easy. So I think that leaders really need to understand and get out of their comfort zone and figure out what the best practices are for leading a team virtually so that they can stay motivated and stay engaged. Now, I've seen a lot of companies try these short-term tactics, like group meditation or group this or group that, just to get people engaged, right? So, well, that's all well and good from a tactical perspective. I think they're good things to do, but we need to get engaged with our people strategically, which is some of the stuff I was saying before. What motivates people? What excites people? What bores people? What brings people down? How do we get them to achieve their highest performance? And we need to learn to do that in a remote environment. So we need to be embracing the tools, the collaboration tools that we've got available to us, and we need to be learning new skills. And it's hard, especially for some of the old school mentality type leaders that really that want to that don't want to embrace new technologies available to them, right? So we always have to be changing, and we always have to be growing in order to be that future-proof, ready leader. Otherwise, we lose productivity, we lose focus, and we don't achieve our goals.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, everyone, thank you very much for joining us in for Success Sundays, and we'll see you again next week. Do let us know in the comments what you would like us to cover so that we can cover it for you. Any final words from you, Jacob?
Yeah, look, I think the thing about Success Sundays, it's quick, powerful, and motivational. Just to quickly get your week ready, plan. Make sure one of the basic principles of leadership. If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail, right? So you want to future-proof yourself. Make sure you've got a plan. Make sure that you know where you're going and you know how to navigate through turbulence, because it's a different business world out there. It's a different leadership world out there now, and old ways won't open new doors. We've got to be different. We've got to exist like we've never existed before. We've got to treat people like we've never treated before. We've got to understand and have empathy, compassion like we've never had before. Because we have staff members who are scared to come to work because they don't want to get their mum sick or their grandmother sick. And in the old days, it's like if someone said, "I don't want to come to work, I'm scared," you go, "You don't have a job." But now we've got to be compassionate. Now we've got to be caring. And so there's a lot of values we've got to bring into future proofing.
Yeah, I love that, and I totally agree with that. It is the future. We're living it now. We have to adapt. That's the main thing about Success Sundays. We're helping each other adapt, and anyone that's watching as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you again next week. See you everyone.
Thanks, guys.